Hi everyone, Derek Schwartz, host of the Advisor Lab, welcoming you to the Citywide Miami Future Proof event. Today our guest is Devon Drew, CEO of AssetLink. Thanks for joining us today, Devon.
Derek, thanks so much for having me.
Tell me, first, before we get into AssetLink, what's been your experience so far at Future Proof Miami?
So, what an amazing experience has been. I mean, when I heard about a conference on the beach, and we've been to the one in Huntington before, didn't actually think it was going to be on the beach in the sand. So what an amazing experience has been. My experience has been nothing but terrific. I flew in here on a Saturday. I spoke on Sunday in front of a pretty well attended panel. So it's been a really good experience so far.
That's awesome. So you're one of the first people to come to these events, and actually Future Proof's an investor in your company, right?
Yes.
So talk a little bit about AssetLink for our listeners who don't know who you are and how that got started.
Yeah, well, first Future Proof was in 2022. I had actually just left Vanguard a couple months before, right? And having given the opportunity to allow myself to have the platform to speak about AssetLink, because we're a distribution platform for the financial services industry. Essentially, we want to be the go-to organic platform for wholesalers and asset managers to target the financial advisors. And also for advisors, think about every day getting 40, 50, 60 correspondences from these asset managers. We're really trying to streamline. And the way we're able to do that with data intelligence. And the more you know about the advisors and how they operate their business, and what kind of products they have a propensity to purchase, the more streamlined that communication could be.
So obviously my firm, Scion Investments, is a distributor. We're here as a vendor for a number of reasons. We're sitting with dozens and dozens of potential clients, right? And they're sitting with dozens and dozens of people who want to sell. So what you're saying is you streamline and simplify this process for a lot of these folks?
Not only that, we're doing it at first in 2021, we had the idea, it was very nascent fringe technology called artificial intelligence. But when we had our first AI patent published, people thought, you know what, I get it, but I don't really understand it. But here we are in 2025, and I don't think there's any doubt that AI-powered distribution is going to be a big part of the distribution model going forward.
So if I have to go out into a conference and I come back with a bunch of leads and I'm thinking about how to approach them, I use AI all the time, kind of structure my messaging. How do I want to talk about this product or their practice? They use a lot of alts or things like that. Does what you're doing take this to like another level, or is it like a different version of it?
Well, it has to, right? But here's where it starts. It starts at data unification. But what does that really mean? Now, if you are, let's call it, you're distributing your products to advisors. You're going to have data that you purchase from XYZ carrier.
Yep.
You're going to have regulatory data that you're getting in from SEC or FINRA. You're going to have your own CRM system notes. You're going to have fact sheets, commentary. All of this is like unstructured data. But what the power of AI is able to do is take all of these disparate siloed data sources unified in one. And when it's in the type of format that is ubiquitous to not only computers, but artificial intelligence, you could easily retrieve this type of intelligence, and you could have automated workflow on top of it, saving time, saving money, and of course, down the line, saving headcount.
There's a lot of different AI models out there. I'm no expert on it. I mess around with ChatGPT, but there's Gemini and dozens of others. Are you guys working your own language model? Are you pulling from all these different ones? Like, how does that work?
So in 2025, you really have to be LLM agnostic. You have to be model agnostic.
Okay.
Now, why is that? Every single model is good at certain things, great at certain things, maybe not the best in others, right? Like if I want a really precise answer, I'm gonna go to Gemini. Google has created a really solid model with Gemini. If I want to be able to do some type of email crafting or meeting notes, I'm gonna use OpenAI. What we've done at AssetLink is we've in-housed models from Llama, Mistral, and Whisper, and then we've used outside of the box OpenAI and Gemini. And we have all of those, we call it our ensemble, and depending on what the workflow is, or what the type of retrieval you're looking for, it calls on the different models to do that certain type of task.
Wow, so it's almost like a best-in-class kind of approach to doing this, right?
It has to be. I mean, think about just how rapid technology is changing, right? Think about like these decision agents and decision intelligence that wasn't a thing a couple years ago. If you're not up to date with that, you're missing the boat. And and conversely, if you lock yourself in with one LLM, then you're missing the capabilities of all the rest.
I know we're going to have a longer conversation in the future with your team and yourself about this, but for listeners who are obviously here at Future Proof or just advisors in general that are thinking about this, what's like the biggest challenge for them to kind of get comfortable with it? Because some people can be intimidated by it. The average age of an advisor is around 55 or so, right? They're a little bit sort of like, oh, I just figured out how to turn my iPhone on. Now you want me to use some kind of language model.
Right.
Is there anything specific you give them advice to kind of get comfortable with getting engaged with AssetLink?
Right.
Is there something that they can do on your website or just kind of learn from it?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is AssetLink.ai. Now, as far as advisors or users getting comfortable with just AI in general,
right.
I mean, using LLMs to just do rudimentary tasks, whether it's creating an agreement between parties or looking for a recipe, right? Because they might think there's a certain way they need to talk to the AI to get a response, but just having kind of everyday tasks being able to get answered. Now, as far as from an enterprise level, getting comfortable with AI, that is a different conversation. Because in order to do that, you have to have your data AI ready.
Right.
Most firms, and the stat is actually 60% of investment firms have not started data unification. So then the output of that result will be hallucinations, incorrect data, and then all of a sudden, if you're a salesperson, like, this doesn't work, I'm over it, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing to do is get comfortable with data unification. So whether that's going from on-prem or going for something's computer to having it stored in a cloud environment, whether that's AWS, GCP, Azure, doesn't matter.
Right.
That'd be the first part. And then actually unifying that in like a data lake, like a Snowflake, that'd be the part after that, right? So like before we're gonna have the AI conversation for an enterprise level, it starts with the data conversation.
So if you're like me, I head up the sales team for Scion. I got Fintrex, I got Discovery, I've got Salesforce, I've got data packs, I've got wallet share.
Yeah.
I'm going crazy. This type of tool is going to help in that regard.
Yeah, and it has to, right? Because when you start thinking about data in its raw form, right, that's what it takes, right? So it's like you get data in the raw form, and what we do as an organization, not to get too technical, but we make it in a format that AI can read. And that process is called vectorization. Now, easier said than done, right? It's not easy to do all that, but that's why it's like if you look at the resources necessary to make it your firm AI readable, like data engineers are a pretty popular term, and it's for a reason, because they're doing the blocking and tackling the ugly work, right? I call them like our offensive linemen. They don't get much credit, but they allow you live in Philly. They allow Saquon Barkley to rush for 2,000 yards, and no one ever talks about him.
Right.
And that's what's kind of necessary, right? So taking the raw data from all of those data packs that you mentioned, making it to one ubiquitous format, then you could easily retrieve it, right? The AI, the models are they're the wide receivers that get all the glory because they're in the end zone. But that's only 20% of the work, right? 80% of the work is in the data work, and that's where a lot of firms at scale kind of struggle with.
That's your offensive line. You can't keep your quarterback upright.
There it is.
You can't get the ball downfield without the offensive line. That's
there
where you're at.
Yep.
Well, this is great. Tell me, before we go, and I know we're going to have you on for a longer episode, what are you most looking forward to while you're here at Future Proof?
I'm looking forward to just getting together with all the 2,500 of our closest industry friends gathered here on the sand. The beautiful thing is, like, I'm sure you can appreciate, you could be standing next to a $10 billion RIA, a $1 trillion manager, and everyone's here in a polo shirt and flip-flops, and everybody is just really just enjoying the environment. So just basking in the glory of it being a Tuesday or a Monday, and we're here on the beach.
We're working.
And we're working.
Not such a bad life.
Can't beat that.
Well, great. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I can't wait to have you again. And congrats to all your success. It's awesome.
I appreciate it.
This video is for informational purposes only and should not be considered or relied upon as investment advice. It may not be copied, quoted, or referenced without Scion Investment's prior written consent. Do not rely upon any opinions, predictions, or forward-looking statements contained herein. The views expressed do not constitute an offer to sell or a solicitation to purchase securities, nor do they constitute the endorsement of a particular asset class or investment strategy. Neither Scion Investments nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries warrants its completeness or accuracy. Certain information contained in this video may constitute forward-looking statements that may be inherently unreliable, and actual events or results may differ materially from those reflected or contemplated herein. Scion Investments expressly disclaims any obligation or undertaking to update or revise any information included herein. The views expressed by the guests or participants are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Scion Investments, LLC, or any of its subsidiaries, officers, or staff. Please be aware of the real risk of loss in following any investment strategy. No investment strategy or asset class referenced herein is intended to be construed as investment advice. You should make an independent, informed decision regarding any investments or strategies only after reviewing all relevant offering or disclosure documentation with your financial professional, and after considering your objectives, risk tolerance, and best interests before making any investment in any financial product. Registered personnel should review any business development initiatives addressed herein with their respective compliance and legal departments. Coverage of such topics should not be construed as compliance or legal advice. It is at the discretion of each respective firm if such practices are consistent with firm policies and procedures.